Kira!
Okay, sorry.
Keep bringing it up.
Would you like to share something with the class, Charlie, or would you like to move on?
I'll drop it in character creation.
Alright. Also, that is a hot buff lady.
Koya! It's the boy!
It's the lad.
The koi.
The koi! It's the koi!
The koi boy.
Happy International Oni Day.
Oh.
He looks so sick! Look at them!
I
Look at that pose.
love the horns that they kind of.
Yeah, I asked for Japanese rhino horns. Horns.
I love the armor and the spear.
Dude, that pose though. That's a motherfucker who's about to spear you from a distance.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's a work in progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit!
So we shall have more incoming.
Let's go!
Let's go. Koya, let's go.
Let's go!
Sure. Now that we have the awesome Koya artwork, I'm assuming you would prefer to stay with the current token that you have until that is fully done, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who remembers where we are and what we're doing?
Let me pull up my notes. Number 1, combat time with quote-unquote Swole Mist Man. He hits hard. His first attack was a crit. His second attack yeeted Booker through a door, and then he frightened 3 PCs. But we still beat him. Somehow. We continued onward. We found another room with some very distinctly carved places. Deep speech. No unauthorized entry. However, Booker chose to ignore that. So we continued onward. We see evidence of small creatures. We continue onward some more. We find crates and desks. We go looting. We find some stuffs. There's a trade deal between Booker and Button. See, Booker found a very special amulet. Trixie found a compass, a book, and a large scroll. Button ended up with the eyeball bag. And Button was about to just dive into all of those scrolls of all those cool creatures. But we had to go. Continuing onward, things get very unpleasant. And we get into a fight with a couple of gnome ceramorphs, and then a death warlock?
Yes, a deathlock.
Deathlock, yeah. That fucker. Those guys suck. TLDR. We still beat them though. It took a lot of doing. However, I do remember distinctly that Koya has gained a signature move, and that is taking their fucking glaive and just yeeting it across the field at someone and hitting. It's great. Do it all the time, please. It's very entertaining. Oh yeah, how could I forget? My favorite part of the session. Deathlock tried to go invisible and Button dispelled that shit right off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah.
You much like Kira has reassured me that Sola made the fight in Rune Lords much easier. By dispelling that invisibility, you made this fight much easier.
Let's fucking go. But end of fight. Everything fucking hurts for a lot of people. Time for heals.
Times for heals, and I believe there was a call for a short rest. Because everybody hurts a lot.
It's ouchies. Big ouchies time. And I have 8 charges of Aura Vitality.
Okay. So, uh, what I would like for you to do simply, if this is a good solution, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
For one, get your dice.
I have my dice.
Okay. You have a little piece of paper or something you can write down a note on?
I can.
Like, you just, when you're doing Aura Vitality mass heals and stuff, like outside of
Mhm.
combat, just roll your dice.
Oh yeah, that was the plan.
And to prevent the spam that can happen within chat,
Mhm.
because it can be a lot.
Oh yeah, I was gonna roll my physical dice and write them down.
Cool.
Yes, I shall be doing that. Button is just in a central location with bandages, mending wounds. It's very damp in the area because of Button's spores.
There is something oddly pain relieving about the spores. On one hand,
Medicinal
it's
mushroom.
kind of icky. On the other hand, it hurts a little less when you're in the area of the spores. But yes, you all have just finished your fight. You have 2 gnome ceramorphs laying on the ground in front of you all, and the remains of the withered corpse of the Deathlock off to one side. There are 2 doors that both seem to be closed to either side of the room, the one you came in from towards the north end. And all of you can roll me a perception really fast.
Is this before the short rest?
Yes. So simply so I know how to describe something for all of you.
You said perception, right?
Yes.
25.
Goddamn.
Druid go bird.
Iris?
I clicked it. I don't know why it's not working. One sec. Roll. Did it roll? Come on. Please roll. And then my headset just died. Wonderful.
How fucked up is everyone?
30%.
Okay.
Okay. So, as you all are kind of coming down from the battle high and grabbing weapons that have been thrown about and scattered, and I'm assuming Booker is immediately going to work, as he is wont to do.
On dissection?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see here. Koya and Button.
Mm-hmm.
You both hear just very, very faintly the noise of things moving, but they aren't coming towards you, at the very least. So you know there's other things around, but nothing seems to be coming with any speed or urgency. So. To answer Amy's question, how is Booker's health?
33%.
Okay.
How is Koya's health looking? And don't lie, because I can see your bar.
Charlie?
Hello? Is this
Hi.
working?
Hello.
Wait, it's down bad hours.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. And Iris.
Trixie's at 12 HP.
Okay.
Yeah,
Booker, in comparison, you're fine.
To give you a specific number, I am at 26 of 75.
Jesus Christ, everyone got. And Button themselves is pretty fucked up.
Short rest.
Short rest time. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna.
And if Booker is immediately going for the Ceramorphs as Amy is deciding, give me 2 Arcana rolls, Booker,
Can I guide myself before I do that?
for one of them.
For one of them? Okay. 1 and guide, because I was going to do it on the first one. And a 2.
16.
We could do.
I forgot I had my Ion Stone. Or Ioun Stone, or however the fuck you say it.
Go ahead. Do. Alright, I'm a fucking genius. You guys ready for these heals?
Mm-hmm.
Booker 20.
Okay.
Koya 28.
Thank you.
Trixie 26. I was just doing math on which healing burst.
Hey.
Quick maths.
Here, quick. 2 plus 2.
No. You're not catching me again.
Alright. Y'all got those heals, right?
Mhm.
Booker. Roll me 2d6 really fast.
2d6. 2 and 3.
Okay, so for your first roll, which was a total of 25, roll me a d4 and a d6.
2 and 4.
So you get 2 vials of Ceramorph brain matter.
Brain map.
When consumed, you can communicate with any creature you can see within 60 feet of you for 30 minutes. You do not need to share a language with the creature for you to understand it, but it has to be intelligent enough to understand at least one language. And then you get 4 vials of Mind Flayer blood.
Hell yeah.
And when consumed, you have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And in addition, you find that this particular Ceramorph, its ray gun is still intact.
Oh.
It is a laser pistol, is what it's called. It works off of your dexterity. If you are proficient in any ranged weapons, you can use it without any penalties. There's 3d6 damage plus
Holy
dexterity.
shit. Put this down here. It's literally just a ray gun.
Yep.
Damage dice is 3d6 plus dex.
Yes.
And is it force damage?
Radiant.
Radiant.
Damn. That would have been helpful earlier.
For the second Ceramorph, roll me 2d4.
Four and 1.
Okay. So you manage to salvage 2 perfectly good Ceramorph eyes. When
Gross.
consumed, you gain dark vision out to a range of 120 feet for 1 hour. And you gain 1 Mind Flayer tentacle, which you already have experience with.
Yeah.
So you can make another dagger should you so choose.
More daggers for Booker.
How long do I get dark vision for if I eat one of the eyes?
An hour.
An hour.
An hour to a range of 120 feet.
Gotcha.
So about double what standard dark vision would give you.
Gotcha.
Oh. Roll me an intelligence check really fast.
Mm-hmm. Just a straight int check?
Yes.
Uh,
Or an investigation if you would prefer.
I would prefer investigation. 19.
Okay. So, you also notice you're kind of taking a step back from these 2 Ceramorphs with your unpleasant goodies in tow already. That these Ceramorphs both seem to have some sort of armor that they are wearing. Not armor you've seen before, and to kind of lean forward again to inspect it, you realize that it's made of a material you're not familiar with. It's dark and inky black, and you would almost think it made of obsidian, but it doesn't have that smooth glass-like texture when you actually touch it. What does Booker do when he realizes that there's this strange material that they are wearing?
It's gonna take it off. Is it like a shirt or like a chest piece, like an armor piece?
It looks like it was perhaps some sort of breastplate, but in the fight it has cracked and it's no longer whole. As you start to try to mess with it and get it off. It doesn't come off in one piece, but you do manage to pull off a good, 1 foot by 1 foot general kind of piece of it, and it's lighter than you thought it would be when you lift it up. You can mark down that you have a broken ceramorph breastplate. And if you take it to a metallurgist or blacksmith or something of the like, they may be able to give you more information about it.
Broken ceramorph breastplate. I have no more room in my fucking sheet. I've got too much shit.
And you've been using your shit to good use, though.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
See here. Are you also heading towards the Deathlock?
Heading towards
The
the
Deathlock.
death. Oh, well, yes, not to dissect, but to search.
Okay. So. Search it. Find on Deathlock. First and foremost, immediately beside the Deathlock, you see that its staff has been dropped. It's a long hunk of dark wood that's twisted and bent at odd angles around a single stone in the middle. Almost in a way that you would think it was grown around the stone. The arcane runes been carved up and down. The only other thing that you see on the Deathlock that of any interest, the headpiece. Look at it. Very center of it has an emblem that you've seen carved into the walls, tunnels and passages of this mine several times over.
Booker's gonna stick 2 fingers in his mouth and give a real loud hoot whistle for Micken.
Does he have a Micken specific whistle?
That's pretty much like the common trope of him calling Micken is like he whistles and then he will say "Wizard Boy," and then once Micken gets close enough, which if Booker's like over here holding the staff, Micken's already close enough, so he'll whistle to get Micken's attention, and then he'll just throw the staff at him, like not throw at him, but like toss it up in the air to him.
Like, Micken turns your direction He looks just a little queasy. And you toss the staff in his direction, and let me see here.
Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
He-
Don't drop it.
Surprisingly for him, he's getting used to you throwing things at him.
Good boy.
And he catches it not gracefully. It's not a nice one-handed catch. It's more of a grab with the arms and tuck to his chest to keep it from falling. But he catches it out of the air and just kind of blinks at you and then looks down at the staff and then just slowly lowers himself down into a sitting position. Staff laid across his lap. You want me to figure out what this is, right?
Booker goes back to checking the pockets of the deathlock and says in response to Micken, just like, you're learning.
Even though you aren't looking, the light of his magic has already started to spark in his fingers before Booker even answers. He begins to examine this staff. This is a staff that only works for charisma casters.
Oh.
Which I believe the only one here is Lily.
Mm-hmm.
It allows for at-will casting of Detect Magic in Disguise Self. It also allows for casting of Chill Touch in Eldritch Blast 5 times a day. At-will casting, no. 5 casting each, I should say.
Dangerous thing to give a charisma character.
And check it. Has 2 slots that allow for you to cast either Arms of Hadar for invisibility.
Ooh. If only I was playing the old version of Booker.
I can keep it because you've talked about swapping back over, or the old version, the not Spelljammer version, you mean?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that Booker, he can't exist in Spelljammer. He just isn't right for this setting. But man, he, like, as a warlock, finding a staff on a fucking, like, dead thing in a theromorph heavy environment in, like, a god brain, he'd be all about it. He'd rather die than give that staff to anyone else.
And did you get that information down, Amy?
E.
You can just go ahead and, I don't know if you can start end of session notes or not, but just make a note to, like, have Piper look at that.
End of session notes.
I don't know if that fucks up your note taking or not.
No, it's alright. I always make little text boxes for each section, so I'm just gonna make the section early. Piper. Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are you looking at the headpiece as well, Joe?
Yes.
As you reach out and lift this headpiece off of the remains of this deathlock, which all of you can see this was very clearly some sort of undead, lich-like creature. Its remains still up and moving along after they originally passed. To the point where, even though you, Button, don't really have a strong emotion when it comes to certain things, even you can feel just that twisting in the very bottom of your being of, that's wrong. Not supposed to be like that. As you reach out and touch this headpiece, lifting it up, seeing that it's wrought from dark black iron. Booker, make me a charisma save.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. 15.
First, all you can feel is just the weight of this circle of iron. Booker, wear gloves.
Generally no.
And as you're holding and examining this circlet, the iron sitting in your palm starts to feel icy, growing colder and colder until it starts to almost feel like the cold of the void that the Deathlock had summoned earlier. And you're taking note of that and starting to process what it could mean. Suddenly you see just a spark of dark magic. Feel something latch on to the mana in your very body. Racing through your veins like ice, shooting up your arms and shoulders and into your chest, up your neck, to your mind, like a needle wrought from winter. And you hear a laugh, deep, guttural, and from the depths of every unpleasant think of screeching screams and nails on boards and the wet squish of flesh hidden in its depths. Find that your fingers have clasped around this circlet instinctively, like a vice. What is Booker's first instinct?
Hmm. That's a tough one. Booker's first instinct is a mix of surprise and like a rush of anxiety, like he got caught in a trap. But then there is a sort of like wave of indignation, and this helmet is clearly some kind of powerful artifact, and he feels entitled to powerful artifacts. There is something he wants them. So this sort of like a strong-handed way of trying to shoo him off or dissuade him from it, it kind of like makes Booker like it makes his spite reflex go off. So he would almost drop it, like from surprise, but then he would hold on to it and try to like exert his own will over it.
Pause a moment and say, I appreciate the term spite reflex more than I can explain.
In my head, I was like, ain't that his strongest reflex?
For real though.
I ain't even in this game, and I know that.
So, he is trying to enter into a battle of wills against this magic. Sure. I know they are not your highest stats, but they are the only ones that would make sense here. I'll let you choose between wisdom or your charisma.
They are just about equal, so I will go with charisma.
Make a save.
So question, DM. I have, as a part of being a magus, at 6th level, I can produce a magical protective weave that disrupts magical assaults. Now this is based around like blocking damage of some kind. But if something were to go wrong, could I use this to try and escape some sort of effect? Like if Booker feels himself losing ground really badly, could he parachute out with possibly using the Aegis to buy himself space?
I will say you can use that to force yourself to drop the circlet. However, you have to make that decision because this is not the way it's intended. This is your yes, but you have to make that decision before I tell you the result of your roll.
Gotcha.
So you have to take the gamble of, do you think it's going to be good or bad?
I will roll my save. I also have a class ability. You can tell me if this applies or not, but I do have a class ability called Mantle of Protection. Whenever I am forced to make a saving throw to resist the effects of a magical or of a spell or other magical effect, I can add a D4 to it. Does this count for that?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna throw a save on there. Really bad. And I'm gonna throw a D4 at it because posterity. I'm very tempted to let it ride, because I want to see what happens. Because, I mean, a little bit of pay for my hubris.
Are you letting it ride, or are you taking your parachute?
I'll let it ride. I'll go with an 8. Fuck it. Booker wouldn't pull a parachute. He would want to fucking win.
I will just pause here. Go ahead and make note that I have made this decision. Both of those abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So in the future, if you come across something like this, you can remind me that I have already made this decision, and I will honor it.
Gotcha.
At least in how those can affect powerful magical artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
So as you throw your will back against this magic, feeling it still coursing through you and clawing into your mind, start to feel it. Some of your magic, some of your energy starting to sap into the circlet. And that laughter that is both recognizable and too much just grinds deeper and deeper to where you're not just hearing it, you're feeling it. Like every space around you is shaking and vibrating with the noise. And suddenly your vision swims, starts to go spotted on the edges. And you see something. A straight intelligence check.
Great int check. $13.
First, it's just an outline. Just a circle or something close to a circle that you feel like it's your vision tunneling and starts to fill in, and it looks like an planet or an asteroid, but that's not stone. It's flesh. Frayed and aged and pockmarked scars, craters. But it is skin. See, it grows larger and larger and larger in your vision. Out scars and craters. But sure it is at first, and then you see its bodies, withered and desiccated with time. All but skin clean to a skeleton. clawing their way out. Swarm. Laughter starts to shift into sounds, into syllables of words that are so long and so far that you can't tell what they're even supposed to sound like. As Booker sitting there, see, for his already tossed his staff and melt down in this iron circlet off of this deathlock, and has suddenly frozen in spot. Every muscle in his body tight and pulled like a bowstring ready to snap. Even his jaw and neck, you can see the muscles and veins straining. His eyes, as any of you move around, see barely pinpricks. The rest of you shouldn't to notice.
I think Button would have gotten around to Booker at some point to his turn for healing.
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing of just like Trixie, make sure everyone's okay. Chatting, probably said something to Booker when he didn't respond, you know? If she'll get up and move to him, like, hey, you good?
There is not even slightest hint of recognition.
Touch his shoulder, shake him a bit.
Does he do this often?
No, this is kind of weird even for him.
No.
Charisma save.
Oh boy.
Charisma saving throw. Let's roll.
Where reach out and place your hand on Booker's shoulder, you immediately feel the jump of magic from skin to skin racing up your arm. That same ice-like sensation through your veins, but you're just quick enough. Just enough magical inclination to throw every ounce of magic that you currently have in you against it and yank your hand away, and it feels like ripping your hand away from where it has been frozen against a pole.
Trixie yanks her hand back and like stumbles a little bit. Something's happened to him. He's, I don't know, cursed, frozen. Do we have something to fix that?
What is it?
Don't touch him.
Okay. What is happening?
I don't know, but something just tried to like latch on to me?
Is it a physical something?
Magical, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm positive.
Button's gonna cast a spell magic. Fucking Hail Mary.
Yeah. Roll.
Is that just... It's a check... Is it just using the wisdom? Straight wisdom check?
Hold on, let me get it.
I believe it's a spellcaster check, so it's your
Yeah.
wisdom and your proficiency.
Yeah. Wisdom and proficiency.
Okay, got you. Thank you. I appreciate. It's gonna be fuck, what's 16 plus 8? 24.
22. 4.
Over 20. You immediately throw out a dispel magic. What does Button's dispel magic look like?
I imagine that their dispel magic doesn't really look like anything. I feel like their dispel magic is kind of like when you go into a sauna and you kind of start sweating. So whatever the item is, it kind of just starts sweating the magic out.
Do you throw this dispel magic out, Booker? You are in this vision, hearing this voice. Booker is smart enough to know that he has been pulled on a ride that he does not want to be on.
Let me out.
Where is Booker's mind in this moment?
It is a mix. His mind is in a mixed place. There is rage, frustration, envy, and there is also shame and sorrow, inadequacy, fear. All that cocktail you get when you really badly want something and you really doggedly believe that you can get it, and then you fucking whiff. You swing the baseball bat as hard as you possibly can, and you just miss the ball. So all that energy just goes past it. And like realizing where he is and that he completely went in over his head, like dived into the pool thinking that he could handle it and realized that it is a nightmarishly deep pool. He will take whatever escape rope he can grab onto.
Are caught in this. Still have that very faint sensation of the ice running through your body, and then there's suddenly a warmth. Not wholly pleasant, but more than enough to push against that cold. Indeed, it seems to just waft over you, slowly pushing the cold further and further away from the depths of your mind. And as it pushes, see that flesh planet is swarming upwards. Shift and change. Just brief moment you see face. Not human. Not animal. But most like concept of a face more than anything else. The idea of a face for somebody that's never seen one. His mouth opens and you are pulled away from the vision. And check your Booker chat. What you see in the moment before you fall back onto your ass in this room, dropping the circlet top of the body. Every muscle in your body feeling like you have just had the workout of your life. You see Trixie and Button and Koya and Micken all staring at you. Various degrees of confused and concerned.
Booker like comes back to himself, and I imagine it's that sort of feeling of having an incredibly visceral nightmare where it seems like you just can't wake up from the nightmare and bad things keep happening and you just want it to stop. And then when you finally wake up, it's not like you wake up mid-scream or in some cathartic like cold sweat where you're getting the anxiety out. Booker just wakes up like slightly on his back foot, and there's no release of the tension, so he's just balled up, coiled real tight. But he comes back to himself and he'll look at Trixie and Button, then blink a couple times, and he'll look back at the little helmet, and he will just, like, he doesn't start hyperventilating, but he breathes real fast and hard. Then he'll reach for the beast claw knuckles on his bandolier, and he'll just rip the dagger off and stab it square in the center of the creature, just like its chest, not at the tiara at all, or the circlet, but he just stabs it into the corpse of the creature, and then he'll stand up and yell, "Fuck it!" and he'll just fucking kick the circlet as hard as he possibly can.
And Booker stands and kicks the circlet. It goes ricocheting across the room into the depths beyond. Far ends where it's, even for those of you with dark vision, it starts to get a little shadowy.
Booker.
You still with us?
Just breathes real hard for a second, and in like a kind of shaky hand, messy gesture, he'll like reach up and he'll take the tie out of his hair, so his hair will fall down a little bit and not be in the bun that it normally is, and he'll just run a hand through his hair, and he'll teleport the beast claw knuckles into his hand again and just stab the creature one more time, just for good measure. Just give a real good, like, defiant and also a pathetic yelp.
Oh,
I'm fine. I'm here.
are
Fucking
you
stupid
hurt?
fucking circle. I'll kick the corpse.
Oh.
Spins around and points at Mick, and he's like, "Don't touch the fucking circlet."
Micken, who is still bent over the staff, still in the like tail end of figuring out what it is. His eyes are kind of like round, almost owl-like as he stares at you. Looks over his shoulder where the circlet disappeared for him, because he can't see that far in the dark. Looks back. Yeah, no, not touching evil god circlets. Cool, got it, understood.
Points at Trixie and Button. just to like emphasize the statement. And he looks like he's gonna say something. Like he opens his mouth and kind of opens it again a little bit. And he'll look over at Koya and then just look at the corpses of the Ceramorphs there. And just like clear his throat, take his little hair tie, and tie his hair back up in a much messier way than it was before. But it's out of his face, mostly.
When Booker pointed at Button and Trixie, Trixie's kind of lower hands went up in like the defensive, like you know what I'm talking about?
The surrender.
Yeah, like okay. It's like, yeah, we got it. Won't touch it. Like she's more serious. Like her just laid back vibe is kind of not there right now. Like, okay, yeah. Not even joking kind of thing. Like, nah. Are you she kind of vaguely puts her hand or gestures to him up and down like, are you healthy?
There's a moment where Booker like puffs in real deep and he's about to shout back at you that he's fine, but when you ask healthy, it catches him off guard and he has to think about it for a second. He just goes, I'm good. Takes his hand and like rubs the back of his neck and kind of wipes some just remnant dried blood, either his or some other creature's, off of part of his hand or his sleeve or his face. I'm as healthy as I'm gonna get in this fucking brain place. Ah. What's next? Where are we going to? Gotta keep things moving. And he'll just completely not look anyone in the eye. Step on the creature like harder than he needs to, and then step off of it and walk over here.
Steps
This
onto the
happened
creature,
before
there
this.
is a very distinct, unpleasant crack and crinkle of dried bone skin breaking.
Mm.
This all happened before the short rest, right?
Yes.
Um, I get that like you want to get out of here. I think we all do, but we were kind of just discussing taking a small break.
Booker spins around and he like he points a finger at you and he like takes a step forward and you can see he's about to fire off, but he stops and he looks at Koya and he looks at Button, he looks at you, looks at Vicken, looks at himself, like battle weary.
Yeah, the fight kind of took a lot out of all of us.
He nods. Yeah. Yeah, take 5. It's a good plan. And he'll turn around and sit cross-legged, facing the door.
I'll just say, because I'm cutting out a few things to make sure you guys get essentially done with this dungeon tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 doors that you have access to are the one over here and the one over here.
This is not a door.
That is not a door currently. It was, but no longer.
Yeah, then Booker will
This one.
He'll still sit like where he is and just kind of cross. Well, no, he'll sit here so that he can face a door just in case it opens. You know, gotta be on watch. But
Wow.
Booker will. Oh, sorry. He'll huff and he'll puff and he will sit his ass down. And his tantrum is mostly over.
Well, Captain, while you were distracted, we did hear something rustling.
Where?
Do we know where? I
Not
know you said they were moving about.
Yeah, not really, because it was just far enough and it's kind of echoed and bent through the stone walls. It's hard to tell.
Can't say. But things are definitely moving.
Nod, nod, nod from Button.
As long as we have someone near each of the doors, we should be fine. Watch each other's back, you know?
Nod.
Booker is just. He is like both ends of a spring. Like he is wound as tight as he could possibly be, ready to fucking snap again. But he is also completely out of energy and has no more bite left in it. Like he is both bedraggled and ready to pop off. And not like saying, "Oh yeah, we heard something, but we don't know where." There is like a rise in him that is just like, well, then what fucking good is it? And he's about to spit up, like, be frustrated, but he looks at everyone again and he just kind of looks down at the ground. And Trixie offers, is like, yeah, I'll just keep watching on the door and that way nothing sneaks up on us. And he just nods at what Trixie says and then looks at Koya and then looks at Button and looks at the door and then he'll just sit down.
Hmm. Button does approach Booker, though. Very, very quiet and normal paced. Tap, 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 tap.
You tap him on the shoulder.
No, as in like the tap of Button just moving is
Mhm.
rather than very quick because they're running to keep up, it's just normal pace. As they imagine Booker's sitting down, Button just stands and they're at eye level. Button might even be still smaller than that, honestly.
Yeah, Button's like 3 foot. Button would be eye level.
Okay. So yeah. Button approaches Booker. Hello.
What?
I would like to ensure you are physically okay.
You like you can see very clearly like some of the wounds Booker has sustained. Booker, you can see some of the wounds he's sustained. But more than anything else, you can see he has this. This is the first time you really noticed it. Booker has a nasty nervous tick. Um,
Hmm.
when he's holding a knife, and he will hold the hilt of the knife in one hand and pinch the tip of the blade between his thumb and forefinger and just kind of roll it in his hand and fingers. And it will sometimes cut his index finger and his thumb. And you can see that, like, it's usually just like a little scrape, like a cat scratch on his finger or thumb. But he is pinching the tip of his blade so hard that he has fresh blood on his thumb and forefinger.
Button sees that, notes that down. We'll write that down in the Booker book later. Habits to look out for. But they will wait patiently for a response.
Booker won't say anything for a good 30 or 40 seconds before he, like, the intent behind it is him trying to say with his silence, like, I'm good.
You have to say it.
Yeah, I know. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm 100% convinced that is not gonna come across.
Nope,
Booker
it is not.
hoping- He's like, why don't you understand my nonverbal cues, Button?
I don't Button, I forgot you're not human, whatever the fuck you are under there.
But with your permission, but Booker,
Mhm.
like, he'll pop off again. He'll have one of his little
Mm-hmm.
spurts of anger, like just waiting 30 seconds, and he's like, "Fuck are you staring at? What do you want? Want a fucking tip?"
I asked you a question for your concern and safety.
I'm fine.
There's a nod. And Button looks down at the hands and looks back
Booker,
up at Booker.
like, Booker follows your gaze, and then he'll take his hand off the dagger and just wipe it on his coat. Like I said, I'm fine.
I see. There is something else. I have a request.
Narrows his eyes. What? Do you want a tip?
No. However, I do not have a lot of magic left. So, I would like to ask you to be very careful in the future for whatever we find next. Because I will not be able to end whatever happens if this happens again. We will have to find another solution.
Booker, like, kind of flexes his jaw, and you can see him really chewing on his words. And he'll lean forward and he'll poke you as he, like, poke Button in the chest as he speaks, and he'll be like,
Oof.
"It's not going to happen again. So you don't need to worry about it. Leave it to me to worry about. You worry about you, I worry about me. It's easier that way."
How close does Booker get?
As real close, right in their face.
Ooh, nope. As soon as Button will allow the poke, that is fine. But as soon as Booker gets close enough to the hat, Button will back up and like tilt the hat back down so that you cannot see under it.
Okay. Joe is going to note that. But Booker will say he'll say that, but he obviously won't be able to say it in your face, but he'll poke you and then say the first part and then say the latter half.
Button nods. And they back up a bit so they can not tilt the hat down. Okay. I wanted you to be aware of what resources we have left.
Booker nods. Good.
The nod.
Good. He wipes his nose.
Button hands him a tissue. It's a cloth. It's a little patchy. It's been sewed together a couple times, but it's clean.
He looks at the tissue like it is the weirdest. He looks at the tissue like it's growing a pair of eyes. It is just like, what the fuck? And then he looks at Button, and then he just takes the tissue.
Yeah.
And he will blow his nose.
There's a nod from Button. And Button is going to just turn and go do whatever the fuck Button does, I guess.
Micken is like, has finished inspecting the staff, is just like sitting with it across his lap now. He can't fucking use it at all, except for just as a stick to bonk with, if he really wants to embarrass himself. But
Don't worry. Button can show you how to use the stick, how to bunk.
that doesn't help, considering Micken's modifier on that is gonna be embarrassing to him.
Aw. Aw.
But Micken is just kind of like watching all of this. Didn't comment, didn't interrupt. But as Button like walks past, he'll just kind of like almost raise a hand slightly, realize he doesn't need to in the moment, puts his hand back down. I don't know what's going on anywhere else in here. But since everybody seems to be getting tired, I've never cast this spell, but theoretically I do have something if we're in a lot of trouble that might kill something. But I can't control it really easily.
Have you been holding out on us, Micken?
What? No. I kind of wrote up this spell from something I remember somebody talking about a long time ago, and I don't know exactly if it will work. That's why I've not used it, because I don't want to use it and it not work. But, and you see him like pulling out his book and starting to flip through the pages, his spell book, stopping on a page and kind of like tilting his head and almost like twisting the book like he's trying to figure out how to read something. The issue is, well, it's a big area that it hits, if I do it right. And all of you tend to be right next to the things we don't want alive.
Button raises their hand.
How big are we talking?
You see him like raise a hand, like he's trying to gesture for a size, and then he's realizing he can't really do it. He looks back down again. Well, it's a little bit further than I can see generally. Above table, this spell is a. Let me double check this one more time before I say anything. 5-foot wide line, 60-foot long.
Huh, okay.
What the fuck is what kind of lightning bolt shit is this?
Thundaga.
He looks towards Button, because Button raised their hand.
Ah. Yes. Lowers their hand. So, would a warning from you work? Would that be enough time for us to move?
It's- I guess once I cast the spell, it's just and he just like snaps his fingers. But I mean, I don't know how you guys want to do. If you want me to use this spell at all, I don't know if it will work. Above table, it is a 60-foot line, 5 feet wide, instantaneous spell. That does a good chunk of damage.
Bun raises their hand again.
Raise your hand.
Bun lowers their hand. Button adjusts their hat slightly.
Oh, for fuck's sake, spit it out, he says to Button.
Would you be able to tell us a bit before you cast this, and then we can clear the way for you?
So yeah, I suppose I could tell all of you to clear out a bit.
Or you could join whoever is walking in front. Stand right behind them.
Looks at Booker, looks back at Trixie. No.
What? You can get out. You got your little teleporting thing.
Well, I don't. You're not human, so you may not understand. I'm not seeing very much of where we currently are.
That's why you'd be behind whoever's in front.
Yeah, but I would like to see where I'm trying to go when I teleport, so I don't. Have you ever
Booker's
seen
gonna
somebody
roll onto his
teleport
feet.
somewhere bad?
Booker's gonna roll onto his feet. So it does like a reverse somersault so that he will roll backwards up and standing. And then he's going to open up his coat and start rummaging around in his pockets. And he's going to walk up, just like stand just a hair inside the too personal bubble of like a normal person's space with Micken. And he's still rummaging around in his coat, and he is going to pull out a Nathalgu eye that he has kept in a small jar. And he's going to examine it very coldly. He's going to look at Micken. He's going to hold it out to Micken. Bottoms up. You can cook it if you want. I find it easier to just swallow it fast and not think about it, rather than cook it and fuck it up. This will help you see.
That looks really squishy.
It is. And he'll push it into Micken's chest.
And there is just a uncomfortable noise as that is pushed into his chest, but he does take the vial. And you see him like hold the vial back out. And have you ever had that moment where you have medicine that you know is going to be disgusting? And you're like having that internal battle of wills of like, you need it, but I don't want it. You see that playing out on Micken's face as plain as day. Like, I need this. It'll benefit me. It'll be good for everybody. But this looks really gross, and I know it's going to be gross, and I don't want it in my body.
Would freezing it help?
Call it like a
Make it crunchier.
No. No. Nope.
You don't have to, Micken. Like, you're not as interested in exotic things as the rest of us. You don't have to.
Micken looks towards Trixie, and it's kind of like this, like, sidelong glance. Interested in an exotic that's what we're going with?
Button raises their hand again, and then they lower it. They're like, oh fuck, I'm not supposed to raise my hand. And they speak. You could avoid the texture by eating the vial itself.
Nope. It's like, just holds
Ooh.
up a hand. Like, okay,
Oh,
what enough?
Trixie will pull out like 3 different fruits from her fruit bag.
There
Masticate.
are a couple of grapes in there.
Chaser.
Yeah, she pulls out a fruit for each hand.
Booker will point to the eyeball, and he'll point to a fruit, and he'll say, "Chaser," or he's like, "Take it like a shot, and you get a chaser."
And you see the classic Micken slowly dying inside. And we'll just hold out a hand for one of the fruit.
What fruit is it? What fruit is it? It is a kiwi.
You have a fruit table?
No,
Is that
I
a
just
thing people eat straight?
Yeah.
yeah.
I've only ever seen kiwis as like a garnish.
No,
rude.
kiwis are delicious.
Now,
They're so
people
think I
soft and
have.
generally
Huh.
do not eat the skin. So they'll
Some
scoop
people
it out
do.
with a spoon, but
Mhm.
That was my immediate thought. I was like, aren't
No.
kiwis hairy?
Yeah, you
Okay.
slice it
The
open and
skin's
you
good
squeeze
for
it
you.
out.
It's good for you.
Is it?
Okay.
I know
It's
that.
fibrous, yes.
Wow,
you
that's
can
that's
eat
fair.
the skin, but because of the texture of the skin, a lot of people will not eat the skin.
Cowards.
Okay. The options are a kiwi, a peach, and a plum.
Okay, another bit of Z lore. Z's favorite fruit is plums. So we're
Can
going
that be
There we go.
Micken's favorite?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Either way, it's something kind of soft and squishy and juicy.
Chaser.
Micken just like takes the plum in his hand. See him kind of weigh it for a second, look at the vial, look at the plum, look at the vial. Closes his eyes. Just knocks back this eyeball and immediately shoves the plum into his mouth, and like it is now his turn to throw something at Booker as he throws the vial back at Booker.
Booker catches it, and then he'll spin it and stick it right back in his coat, and then he looks at Button and glares.
Button just stares. What did they do?
You owe me a vial.
I have that noted down already. I will find one.
And don't tell people to eat my vials. And then he'll pat Micken like a bit more enthusiastically on the shoulder / back. Be like, that a boy. Enjoy your plum.
Micken looks green around the edges. But he is focusing on keeping everything down.
Oh,
So now you can join Booker and I in front.
Mm-mm-mm.
Grin.
Button is digging
Booker-
into their bag. They're
And
pulling
Booker's
something out.
gonna.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Booker's gonna walk back over towards Koya and start to sit down again for the short rest. But as he does, he is going to pull out the black longsword that we found like 2 rooms ago, or I think 2 or 3 rooms ago, and he's gonna look at it, and he's going to toss it up and then catch it by the end of the sheath, so that the handle is pointed, or the hilt is pointed towards Koya, and he is going to extend it towards Koya and be like, "It's not weighted for me. I use lighter things. You could probably make a lot of use out of this, if you wanted."
I appreciate it, Cap. Promise you won't get offended if I don't use it.
His eye twitches, but he doesn't say no. I'm not gonna force you.
Jokes aside, of what I have with me came from family.
He nods. And he'll flip it back around and grab the hilt and stick it back on his backpack. I'll hold it whenever you need it. Just don't ask for it in the middle of a fight, because I'll throw it at you.
Or you could just grab it when you run by. With those long legs.
He turns and looks at Trixie, and then, like, he doesn't stick his tongue out, but it has the energy of sticking his tongue out.
I mean, it's true. It's kind of shrug. Cozy's back up against the wall.
Button acts as if they have just pulled out Excalibur from their bag. Not a sword. There is something in their hands, though. And they turn, and they very quickly whirl around to look at Booker. Tap, 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 tap. Skid to a halt.
Booker just... What?
Hello. I have vials. However, they have substances inside of them.
He tilts his head and raises an eyebrow.
I have one vial of Rygar something. I do not know. I collected it. However, I do have vials of Intellect Devour Blood. I owe you a vial. Here is a vial. I am sorry it is not clean or empty.
You give him a vial of Intellect Devourer blood?
Mm-hmm.
Our blood. Booker will take it, and he kind of just swirls the blood in the vial a little bit, and just goes, "Fair trade." And he'll look at Button, and then he gives you a nod, but it is like it is as close as you will get to a verbal thank you in the moment.
Button nods back. All right, back to their little corner. And I don't know if you have it saved.
Do not.
So, when consumed, your intelligence score increases by 1d4 to a maximum of 20 for 30 minutes.
Woo!
You're
That,
welcome.
at bare minimum, would bump you up a level.
Mm-hmm.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
When Button was going to hand something to Booker, Trixie reached out her hand, but then seeing it was a vial of blood, she sighs and puts her hand down. I thought it was going to be the mold collection.
That is still growing.
There. Yeah, I shouldn't be this relieved, considering you just handed another strange substance. That's probably worse than mold, but just felt right.
Some molds can be incredibly poisonous when ingested or inhaled. So that is not the case.
but blood, a vial of blood doesn't do that.
Not always. Sorry for the Mr. Amy yelling in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I just heard it very loud. What?
We know.
Sorry.
We all did.
Yeah. I was like, please don't. Ah. Alright. However, Button is going to settle in next to Trixie. Crisscross applesauce. I feel like this is a move they learned from Trixie.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, they're
Legs.
gonna look at the fucking scrolls.
Their legs are just a little too short to fully achieve perfect crisscross.
But it's something. It's a cross. It might not be a crisscross, but it's a cross. But they're finally gonna look at the fucking animal scrolls. Let's fucking go. We got an hour.
Everybody can take your short rest. Gain resources that are regained on a short rest. Choose hit die that you would like to recover, depending on what hit die you have left.
Mhm.
Charlie, do you need a recap on what short rests entail? They're allowed.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
8.
Ooh.
You can roll as many dice as you
4.
want, Charlie. You've been very conservative with them.
Already used
I
3.
I think that's gonna be it.
Left.
I've only got 3 hit die left.
I've only got 4 left, but I'm at really low health.
And I will be the generous DM here of this is going to be your final rest of this. So if you're saving
So-
for potential of another short rest, you're not going to get another short rest. There's like 1.5 rooms left.
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking go in
We will.
11. 7? That is
Can
all
we?
I need.
What'd you say, Iris?
Should we and can we long rest?
Long rest? No.
Okay.
We probably could do that on the ship
Yes.
before we go to the heart dungeon.
Yes, that is what my planning for this place was 1 day and short rest in the brain, a long rest on the ship, and then 1 day in the heart.
Fuck, what's 12 times... No, that... Wait. Oh my god. It's 12. I'm sorry, I'm fucking stupid.
No.
By the way, Z, I used 4 hit dice, but it rolled it on D&D Beyond, not roll 20 for some reason.
Just as long as you were keeping track of that.
Alright. I'm at almost full. I have no more hit dice left. That is okay. Oh. By the way, just above table. The spell slots? We run real fucking low.
I got a second level and 2 first levels left. And I have 1 casting of Intellect Fortress from the Ion Stone that I forgot that I had.
That's very useful.
That is super useful. You are super correct.
I have 3 first levels and 1 second level. That's why Button told Booker in character, don't go touching shit. I can't dispel magic anymore. Respectfully.
Charlie, I have to top. Charlie, I have to top. Who am I playing?
Oh my god, Kara. Quinn.
Quinn.
Vane.
Hey.
Oh,
Vane.
you're right. Vane.
No, play the one dude who's voice acted by Dio.
No,
But he's so cool.
I'm playing Vayne.
So, have you, and I will say, if Micken has a decent number of spell slots left, that's because that's a wizard. Wizards just, that's the only thing they got going for them, man. As your warning, he can only yoink, like, once or twice more, and he has one good heavy hitter left. Let me see here.
Yeah, I've got no more heals except for healing word. Like close wounds.
How many spells do I have left?
We need more healing potions.
I have one first level spell as well, so I can do a close wound or something.
Forgot that you took a level in cleric.
Yep.
Keep up.
If I might have a tiny RP moment with Button.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So they're chilling on the side here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as Button's going through the spells, after a couple of minutes, Trixie will kind of lean closer to Button and speak a little bit more softly.
Ow. Fucking sorry. Cat just had litter feet and jumped on my lap.
Oh. No, actually, Trixie will kind of scoot so she's like facing Button with her back to these two, to Booker and Koya.
Button just looks straight up at Trixie.
But she'll just lean a little closer, not getting straight into Button's bubble, but she's like, by the way, you don't have to take his advice to heart. Like the whole watching your back thing.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I mean, everyone on this crew has each other's backs, whether we like it or not.
Button nods. That is why we are a crew.
Exactly, you get it. Mr. Grumpy Pants just needs to get it through his skull, you know?
Button nods a bit slower. I am worried.
Yeah, me too.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I haven't seen him act like that before.
I have not either. Trixie, I have a favor to ask of you.
Oh, yes?
I would like you to make sure that I do not overstep.
Trixie tilts her head to the side a little bit. Kind of like in a small thinking gesture and nods. Yeah, I can do that for you. I don't think you've had yet.
I am trying to not do that. However, it is very difficult. I am focusing on staying here, far away from the person who needs help. But it is a conscious choice I have to keep making, and I might get too close to someone who does not want help. So I would like to ask you, a friend, to make sure that I do not do that.
Yeah. I can do that for you, but you're doing fine on your own. But I'll watch your back.
It's a nod of a thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what caused him to be like that, but he does need space. But we can keep an eye on him from over here, yeah?
It's a nod.
And if worse comes to worse, between the four of us, we can get him out of trouble.
It's another nod. We can drag him if we need to.
Yep. Which, by the way, nice save with that spell.
I have it for purposes such as this, or other things, like the enemy. It is multi-purpose, which is why I have it.
And see, that's why we love you. You're always prepared.
I have prepared lots of things. I have a lot of... Never mind. We've already gone over my mold collection.
And I'm sure we'll be needing it at some point.
I have a report, if you would like to read it. We have some time.
Yeah, sure.
I was gonna pull out a big ass fucking book.
Oh. Trixie is smiling and being relaxed kind of thing, sees the book, and it's just the heftiness, and the corners of her eyes are a little strained as she just keeps trying to smile.
For you, we will start from the beginning. Chapter 1,
Well,
page 1.
wait. You got your scrolls to read. You can't do both.
You are correct. You
I'm
will
also
read
interested.
this. I will read the scrolls. If you have
Right.
any questions, I will answer.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Button. If I have any questions, you'll be the first one I ask.
Pat, pat, pat. Trixie on the knee.
She'll take the report and do the typical high school thing of sliding one of her books in between the pages.
Button pulling out their scroll. I cannot wait to talk with you about the report. It will be fun.
Yeah. Totally looking forward to it.
Another nod. Reading time, let's fucking go. Button's so fucking excited to read.
Trixie pulls out a freaking apple and a banana. Fruit?
They'll take the apple.
You know what? Fuck it. She's going to tilt her head back, kind of leaning backwards, one of her arms behind, and pulls out two other fruits, tosses them over to Booker and Koya. Heads up!
You threw apples?
Yeah.
Booker will catch it, and like he was almost like dead ass asleep, leaned up against the wall, but he'll like last second wake up and catch it. Just like,
Tech save 3. No.
Oya does not catch it.
Straight to
Aw.
the nose.
Aw.
No. Sorry. Sorry about that.
good shot.
I think at that comment, Koya's gonna instinctively like shoot out a hand to Booker's shoulder.
Wait, shoot a hand out and grab his shoulder?
Oh, like a punch.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you were like grabbing onto him. I was like, what happens next? He'll laugh a little bit, and like the tension of the previous events are kind of finally melting off of him, and he's gonna cut up the apple with one of his many knives and just eat it slice by slice.
Hey, think you can skin this? Already tossing another apple at Booker.
He's gonna hold up a knife and catch it on the knife,
Mhm.
and then he will like pop it off and just shave a couple of the apple skins off.
Lower hands are clapping. Golf clap. Trixie will turn back to Button and give a wink.
Button is trying to figure out, looking at what the fuck y'all are doing. They're trying to figure out how the fuck do you eat an apple like a normal person? How am I supposed to eat this? I want to just eat it whole. However, that would be the simplest thing. But they're looking, it's like, do we need to take out a knife? Is that the proper way to do this?
You need it cut up?
Booker will pull out the only mundane dagger he has. He has one standard, normal-ass dagger with nothing special about it, and he'll pull it out of like a bootstrap, and he'll slide it over to Button so that it like skitters along the ground. And then he will hold up that he has the apple, and he'll like show pantomime, or not pantomime, but like actually just go through the motion of cutting it very exaggeratedly.
Button, paying very close attention to Booker, just perfectly fucking mimics the motion, complete with Booker's posture.
Any outside observer would think that they were mocking each other somehow. Only the people in this room are like, yeah, no, that's just how Button learns.
They're very proud of themselves. They'll eat the apple slice. They're eating like normal for once, guys. Pat on the back for Button. They slide dagger back to Booker when they're done.
At some point, Micken just lays back on the ground, flat, and he has finished his plum and has decided that he is not going to be sick. And as one by one the apples are eaten down to their cores, you just very slowly see seeds starting to be pulled from the cores and kind of dance their way over to Micken, and you see that Micken is constructing something out of levitating apple seeds and the plum core, or the plum pit. Just hovering above him in the air. He makes no comment and offers no explanation.
Can Button cast Druidcraft on the seeds?
if you'd like to.
Yes. To make them bloom a bit. And, like, sprout. Start growing.
The kind of swirl of the seeds in the pit above Micken stops for a moment. They stand still in the air. The seed's like watching. And then you see his head lift up a little bit and him look over to you. And then his head thunks back down and he goes back to what he was doing.
But will also lay down. And they're going to put their hat kind of on top of their face, so their hat is still pointed upwards, while they're horizontal on the ground on their back. Floor time.
Exactly.
What time good?
Is there anything else anybody would like to do with their short rest? Lunch, going nice. So,
Going chicken noodle rice.
shish. So, a little bit of time passes, just enough that all of you can feel you're starting to get your stamina back a little bit, catch that second wind, and regain a little bit of your various abilities and energies and mana. And slowly but surely, you all begin to get that sensation of, well, probably about the best it's gonna get. Need to get moving if we're going to be moving at all. As you all come to that realization, who would be the first one on their feet of we need to go?
I'd like to think it would be Booker. Like, as soon as Booker is feeling ready to go, he will, like, open his eyes and do a kip up, like, slide off the wall and, like, immediately jump up and wipe his hands on his pants and his jacket. Look around the room, make sure everything is still right where everything is supposed to be, and then look at this door, and then look at the other door, and look back to the door he's near, and then just be like, oh, I guess it's this one.
Okay, so you're pointing towards the one, you're the one beside Booker.
Yeah, he'll point to the one right beside him and give a Dr. Cox-esque whistle. You know the one that like that goes. That's that two-toned whistle.
You see Micken's head raise a little bit, looking in your direction, and it thunks back down against the ground, and there's just like, oh. He has slowly started getting to his feet.
Booker will look at Micken and be like, "Hey," and he'll point at his own eyes and do the two-finger point at Micken and be like, "How's the eyesight?"
There's a blink, and he looks around. I think I was good not seeing anything. But I see things, yes.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Booker just ignores any disappointment that he might express.
Button is deactivated in the corner.
Oh, deactivated?
Not literally, but very close.
it's gone into power saving mode.
Yeah. They're recharging slowly. They're syncing up the backup batteries.
Come on, Micken. Time to see what it's like on the other side of the party.
No,
Arm
no,
around Micken.
no, I'm good. I got this thing has a cast that spell. It has a range on it. I'm good. Starts ducking out from under the arm.
If you're sure.
Yeah, I like where I am because I know everything behind us is dead.
You sure about that? Kind of leans in on like a conspiratorial, like, I don't know.
Let me roll for this. We can like
He's
there's
full on teasing.
a moment of like, oh shit, you might be right, and then a little frown. If it's not, and it's up behind me, well, then I guess we're all dead, then, aren't we? That's gonna be a problem.
Lighten up.
Um,
I'm just playing with you.
You realize where we are, right? We are inside the brain of some giant thing that keeps fucking freaking everybody out. And it's got those, and he gestures both to the Ceramorphs and to the Lich body.
Yeah, but there's no point in being paranoid.
There's just like this slight head tilt and a blink. Have you met me? Remember? Did you get hit in the head? Looks over to Button in the corner. But I think Trixie might need some more healing.
This is the only time "do you know who I am" as a phrase has been used to compel someone to think less of them. I am not brave. I am not a warrior. Do you know who I am? I am the coward and a scholar.
Micken, you gotta think better of yourself, because I see a lot of brave. You're pretty brave, to be honest. You wouldn't be spelljamming if you weren't.
Trixie, yes, I can spell jam. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But you, and he points at very accusatorily at Trixie, and you points very accusatorily at Booker. Keep pulling me from the ship. Gestures back towards the entrance of the dungeon.
Booker just blinks lazily and just goes, "Well, you're welcome to walk back on your own if you want to. You can see in the dark now."
Yeah, you'll make it back fine, right? Well, we'll see you back on the ship, I guess. Trixie starts walking slowly.
There is suddenly a plum pit that smacks you square in the forehead, Booker, and a mini arsenal of apple seeds hitting you, Trixie.
Oh, you've got good aim. Trixie just laughing. I probably deserve that.
Booker is going to look at everyone and gesture to the door with his head and be like, "All right, gonna pop this one open. Get yourselves all ready up." And he'll put his hand on the threshold, like getting ready to push it open, and he will snidely like look towards Micken and be like, "I'm going to tell your wife that you ate an eyeball," and then he'll open the door.
Micken looks at him, and there's a frown. And Trixie, you are the only one close enough to hear it as he starts muttering under his breath. She'll just put a fucking hot poker up your ass.
Strictly full on is just snickering.
You are able to walk over to this door, kind of heave it open, and you see on the other side a large square that is perfectly carved out. Ceiling is nearly 10 feet tall. It is by far the most standard, constructed almost room that you have come across in this place. As you look inside, you see that along the two shorter walls, said square, rectangle, the two shorter walls have been carved in first what you think are shelves. And then you realize, no, they're a little too oddly shaped to be shelves. They're bunks. Places to lay down and sleep, perfectly sized. The Ceramorphs. The center of the room, you see desks, tables, carved from dark stone that makes up this brain itself. And you see two things in amongst all of the furniture, you would call furniture. That button, first to immediately understand what it is, but all of you, as you're kind of squinting and staring, you have been on Spelljammers long enough to figure out what they are used for. You see a large circular spot on the floor that can only be described as a base, a spelljamming helm, just without the spelljamming helm itself, without the chair the spelljammer would sit in. And a few feet in front of it, a large circular table with pieces of metal arcing up from it that is either is a partially deconstructed or partially constructed. You're not sure if it's being taken apart or if it's just not built fully yet. A space for 3D star map that you would use navigating.
Would you
There's
look at that?
remnants of life and activity in this room, though you see no living beings in it.
Going fucking beeline to the star map.
So
Booker's not. Sorry, go ahead.
to give you some idea, Amy,
Mm-hmm.
like you've seen like the like giant globes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Imagine like the casing of the globes without the
Mhm.
globe itself in the middle.
Yeah. But I'm still gonna investigate that. It's like, oh, area of interest. I don't know where it is.
I can do this really fast. shitty doodles coming in.
We love
Like,
the shitty doodles.
this
Shoodles.
would be like where the
Shoodles.
Astro Lab navigation would be. This would be Spelljamming Helm base. And then you'd see a couple of kind of tables and desks kind of scattered around on either side.
All right,
And then-
investigation time.
Some bunks along the edges of the room here.
So you say remnants of life and activity. Is it like a long time ago kind of remnants, or is there a way to tell?
Investigation.
Yay, Button's great at those. It's gonna be a 13, boss.
What you see is not so old that it's falling apart, like you've seen in other parts of the brain. Everything is used and worn, but not ancient.
Okay.
We're doing something, Booker?
Booker was going to examine the Spelljammer helm spot. He's not exceptionally well versed in spell jamming, but is he able to try and assess if this is usable? If you were to, could they put their spell jamming chair here and fly God?
So you can roll in Arcana, and Button is looking at the map thing, right?
Yee.
So you can roll with your cartography.
I am going to use a point from my amulet of the known and unknown to give advantage on this.
What stat does the cartographer's tools use?
That would be technically it's your int. I'll allow wisdom for this one.
Yay! I got a 21.
So, but in looking at this table, kind of examining the pieces of it, I imagine even more than the spelljamming helm itself, Button has always been fascinated with these things. These 3D magic models of both wild space and the astral sea, depending on where you are and what it was made for. And you're able to tell from what's kind of remnants are in the base of it that it looks like they're trying to build something to help navigate the astral sea itself. But they don't have the pieces necessary and the knowledge of how to do that. They know the concept, they understand the concept, they understand the steps to making one of these, but because of the amorphous, ever-changing nature of the astral sea, they're not quite able to figure out how to make it work. Particularly because they don't seem to know either where they currently are in relation to anything, or perhaps where they're wanting to go. Booker, in looking at the base of this, Booker doesn't portray himself as a spelljammer, but he has by far the most experience of everyone here of of being on a Spelljammer and seeing it in action and seeing different types of Spelljammers even. Because I imagine Booker's the type that even though he is on the Lady Luck, he's probably gone and poked around on other ships when the opportunity has arisen.
Yeah, I like to think so.
And so you've seen different shapes and sizes and designs of helms. And this base is pulling from the magics that are latent in this brain. Very wild magic itself that's tapping into. So, just knowing that, Booker is smart enough to know that is it technically possible to take the chair from the ship and put it here? Yes, but it would likely burn out that chair extremely fast. Like trying to use too low of a voltage. Will it start the machine? Yes. Will it keep the machine running? Not really. But he's also observant enough to see that there's traces of burnt and scorched magic in the center. Suggests that there was already a spelljamming here.
So it looks like somebody tried and failed to plug in a chair and fly God.
Not necessarily. Could it be that? Yes. But it could also be just that somebody has a chair that works and has used it. But the chair's not there right now.
Is there any reason you would unplug a chair at a Spelljammer to use it somewhere else? Like, does it do anything if you unplug it from a Spelljammer?
Is it like putting a lock on a steering wheel?
That's
a
one
good
use of
point. It
it.
could do something. Yeah.
You do need both the chair and the base to make anything go. Above table for thinking of this type of stuff, you have to have your chair and your base to make a spell jamming vessel work. So removing one or the other will keep the vessel from moving as a spell jammer would. That doesn't necessarily negate it from moving. So like the Lady Luck, you remove the helm from the base, you could still technically sail the Lady Luck much, much slower, and it's very dependent on you being able to catch astral winds, which are not always a given. But it does prevent the fast movement in the targeted movement. There are spelljammers that have specialty needs at times for certain types of spelljamming helms, either that are larger or smaller or run off of specific types of magic and specific types of abilities. There are spelljamming helms that at this point are very much in the like testing. We don't know if it's going to blow up on us at some point, but we like to like see how long it takes to blow up if it does blow up, that are make spelljammers move faster or make spelljammers more agile or stronger. So the spelljammer is an interesting thing that you can think of like in a kind of weird way as the combination of both a steering wheel and an engine. Of any reason that you might swap out or remove a steering wheel or an engine would also potentially be a reason you might either swap out or remove a spelljamming helm.
As a sort of follow-on question, if you were to plug in a Spelljammer to this spot, and if you were to spell jam at the Spelljammer, what's the over/under on your brain exploding?
There are chances. Not gonna lie.
Just to be safe, is there any splatter on the ceiling?
No.
Any brain juice?
Booker's like examining it really closely, and he does like some mental math, and then he looks up, and he looks back down. And he's like, "Okay."
So this is another thing, like above table, that everybody that is involved with spelljamming would understand. Of the number one, the larger the vessel, generally the more powerful the caster needs to be.
Ah.
That is not to say that like any of you would be wholly unable to like go to a giant vessel and pilot it, but it starts to become more and more draining to like feed your spell slots into it the bigger it is. So eventually there is a size of spelljammers you hit where either you need to be of a certain level or you need to have multiple casters helping. You guys are nowhere near getting access to a lot of those. Also, well, hold on, my brain skipped tracks. Circle it back around. Size, brain explosion. Ah, yes. Booker, roll me one more Arcana check.
Uh-huh. Nine. Arr. Unless this one would also be at advantage.
No, but this will just affect the amount of like specifics you get. So
Gotcha.
you'll still get some information from this. Booker would know enough to reason that if, like, for instance, if this was a trying to like spell jam something living, the brain explosion would be a little bit more of a concern. The concern here is more along the lines of a spelljammer would be connecting their power and their mana with this corpse's. So it's less a overcharge, more a concern about mixing.
Okay. Putting that aside, Booker is going to search just around the bunks and anywhere that there might be things.
Ooh. Start to poke around the room a little bit more. You see that most all of the bunks, you essentially have two bunks that are one on top of the other, little carved footholds beside them to climb up. For a size reference and comparison, Button would be able to fit on them very comfortably. everybody else is too large. They're very much designed for somebody that is of small stature. And again, they're carved straight from the rock here. You can see that there has been, each one of them has a little something in them. Almost like little stashes. However, each little stash is less a stash of things and more a stash of, rocks, it looks like. Pieces of this ring. And, kind of putrid smelling goo that you can only assume to be what was flesh of some sort or brain matter of some sort at some point.
Can I try to identify it? I do have a lot of matter in my coat pockets.
Sure. Make a nature check.
I would like to use another point to give advantage to this one because I am less good at nature.
Sure.
I'm gonna fucking try. Whew. 21.
Kind of poke and prod through one of the piles. You get a couple pieces that are not decomposed completely yet, and kind of examine them and kind of move them out of the pile to take a closer look. You're pretty sure that these are from some sort of humanoid, like piece of meat and a piece of brain matter. I have a sinking sensation that this is probably the remnants of one of the last meals that this Ceramorph had. Probably from some unfortunate traveler that happened upon the corpse.
Hmm.
Button, are you doing anything?
I mean, you said there was like desks
Yeah,
or
a
tables.
couple of desks and a couple of tables.
Time
Just
to
kind
look
of
over
scattered
there.
around.
Desk
Okay.
and table search.
Seems like, unlike the desks that you've previously come across, these are much more roughly hewn, kind of haphazard. However, these are also built for somebody of your stature. Which is
Hell
relief.
yeah.
And it looks like these are more used as workbenches. The tools of various sizes and types kind of scattered across them, and pieces of little machinery here and there. Machinery of what? You're uncertain. And it looks like a lot of it is just being put together through scraps of other material.
Is there anything worth taking with Button? Anything that could be usable?
It depends on what Button would find interesting in you.
Are there any
There
like
are-
blueprints or like
Oh.
designs of things?
There's not any paper or scroll or books as far as you can tell.
Okay.
There's a very strange, you're not quite sure what it's made out of, gnome-sized tools if you would like to just randomly look and find one.
That'd be nice.
You
It's
can
very
get
rare there's gnome-sized tools
a
Button comes across.
collection of kind of haphazardly put together from different types of material, gnome-sized, gnome-statured tools.
Fucking gold mine.
His Button doesn't strike me as somebody that is overly interested in weaponry.
Nah. They have a stick.
Are Koya and Trixie doing anything in particular?
Koya will keep an eye out on the other entrance, but will also Megan and Trixie. Hey, so what's a wife?
Micken, like, immediately is, like, stuttering to, like, blindsided by that question. You don't know what waif is? Do you know what say is?
No,
Oh. Marriage? Does that have any meaning to you?
they look to Trixie. Are these actual words?
Yeah, like a wife is like someone who you care so much about, who you love, and you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Booker still looking around. Don't forget to explain where babies come from.
I mean, I think Cleo's already got that down though.
Yeah, Claire's gonna cross her arms at that.
I'm pretty sure Koya's smart enough to know though where they come from. Okay.
So, are you all wives then?
Not the same
No,
type of
no,
caring.
no.
Not the same type of caring. We're friends, you know? Friends, companions, besties.
Co-workers.
But you have short-circuited Micken's brain. Micken is trying to open his mouth and explain and offer into the conversation, but his brain has melted out of his ears, and you see him kind of like lift a hand and make gestures like he's again trying to talk, but it's not computing.
Friends would be like a couple steps back, you know?
Hmm.
Am I making sense?
Oh. Not really.
Oh.
I feel like wife would be a couple steps back.
No, wife would be a couple steps forward. It's like stronger.
And you're certain you're not all wives. There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Right, okay.
I mean, unless this is some interesting way of proposing, Koya.
My fiance would kill me. Fiance would kill. Nope. Nope. Just like points at Trixie. Nope. Points at Quentin. Nope.
Trixie will move up to Koya and kind of lean in close, like kind of shoulder to shoulder kind of thing. It's like, I'm flattered, but I don't really know you that way. Kind of elbow them.
Claire will cock their head to the side. Perhaps later? Find out a bit more if you'd like.
Oh. Nope.
Not quite sure about the wife thing.
Nope.
We'll see how things go. Trixie will turn to Booker. We might have something, another button situation on hands.
Yes. What? I was not paying attention.
Like,
Don't worry about it, pal.
Okay. Goes back to looking through the tools. They're just cherry picking everything that they find interesting and in good shape.
important question. Does button put down, like, replace it? Like, I found a hammer, I, like, reach in, take out hammer that they currently have, put that down, pick up the one they want.
I feel like they're...
Because I feel like that's a button thing to do.
Can you describe that again? It went over my head.
Like, you're looking through, like, gnome-sized tools, right?
Huh?
And you're like, I found a gnome-sized hammer that I like. Let me reach into this bag and pull out the hammer I currently have, put it on the desk, pick up the new one, and put it back into my bag. Discarding the old ones, bringing in the new ones.
Yeah, I feel like they've got different piles. That they're slowly cycling through their own tools, and if they find one that is better, and in better shape than what they currently have, they will swap it out. And they'll be like, okay, this is what I am donating to this place to be here with its brethren. This is what I am taking with me. These are the ones that are in disuse, disrepair. They cannot be used. But their hair just pops up and like, what? I heard my name? No? Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, say less. Goes back.
You keep looting to your heart's content.
Okay. So, anything else anybody is doing? Looking around and looking up.
Nope. However, I would like to have enough time for Button to cycle through all of the tools and be happy.
Yep.
Yes.
If Koya's up for it, Trixie will have a conversation with Koya and just chill.
I muted. Hello. Of course.
Yeah. I don't have anything in particular yet, but...
I was thinking
New
about
friend.
what other things Koya does and
Yeah.
does not know.
Yeah.
Mikan in the back of his head is like, my fiance would shove the hot poker up my ass if I'm part of this conversation. Just, nope. We're not even gonna joke about that one. Will anybody ever tell her no? Will she still find out somehow? Yes. I like my life.
Aw, Micken likes his life currently. He loves adventuring with us.
Exactly. He wouldn't be here if he didn't want to be here. He could have stayed on the ship. So he does have a brave bone in his body. A brave bone.
He will come back home stronger, more confident, I'm sure.
And he'll have such epic stories to tell his wife.
But that's about it for Button, at least.
Okay. Joe is currently out on war me time. So I'm
I
going.
missed oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying I missed the first half of the description of the room, so that's why I'm just socializing or
Oh,
having Trixie socialize.
the lines along either side on each short wall, there are carved into the stone bunks, essentially gnome-sized bunks.
Oh,
They're just open to the rest of the room. And in the center of the room, the two circles in heavy quotation marks,
like a spelljammer, or where
yeah,
a spelljammer helm would be.
yeah, a Spelljammer helm base and the remnants of a what Button surmised to be a partially constructed map navigation tool.
Oh.
It looks like it's just they can't figure out how to put it together, possibly because of lack of information or lack of supplies.
Mm.
And then the rest of the room is just kind of filled with uh tables and desks and such that are all gnome sized, carved from the stone, and like little piles of scraps and tools and stuff with like half built, half fiddled with machinery built out of the scraps, kind of scattered around.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm cool with Trixie just socializing. Button's got to be searching the tiny stuffs.
Quote unquote searching.
So, and to have this conversation, even though Joe's not here, but at least Joe might be half a brain hearing this. Above table, we've hit 11 o'clock.
Hmm.
Essentially, next room has your boss battle. We can try to do it if you'd like. I anticipate it being a good chunk of a battle, though. That will take us very late. If you guys don't feel up to it, we can do that next time, or we can try to schedule in another day some point, even if you want to squeeze in just the fight so that we can have it done. You guys can have a session on the ship as a full thing. I leave that up to all of you. It's what you would prefer. But you guys really only have one room that has anything of particular interest in it left, and it is the room with your boss in it.
I'm back.
Did you hear what I said, Joe?
Welcome back.
I did.
I think we should hold.
Okay.
See, maybe we can have a Piper, because if we're going to a boss fight, we should probably have all the PCs.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say I think holding is good for the other reason of top of the session brain power is at a peak. Bottom of the session brain power dwindle.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of options. We'll say we're gonna end the session with this exploration. And as you all finish your poking around, you see the door on the opposite side. You go up to it. and you find that it has been barricaded. And pretty haphazardly quickly barricaded. So that it will be your first challenge next time. Getting through the door.
Hmm.
But we will start with that next time. Wrap up the dungeon next time. Do we want the other thing that we can discuss right now? It's very dependent on everybody's schedules. I don't expect a yes necessarily from this, but I will throw it out as an option of if we want to just do a get through the door, do the fight session. Technically, we don't have anything on Monday coming up. So we can try to squeeze it in then, or even squeeze it in next Friday. Depending on all of your schedules. If not, we can push it off until the next scheduled time, which would be the 18th.
Hold on.
Charlie
hold on.
can't do next Friday.
Okay.
Question
They
to
are crushing
you,
my
Z.
heart into little pieces.
That would be the 11th, would be the only option.
Objection. If we roleplay on Monday, that would mean you're running Star Wars on Sunday and Spelljammer on Monday. Then you have
Lord.
Rune Lords and Weird.
Yeah,
back to
well,
back.
there's also baby runes tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There's baby runes tomorrow.
What?
The combat.
Yeah, we're just doing combat tomorrow.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
not what I
you
thought.
knew what babies were.
No, I knew what fucking was.
I am not.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not thrilled with that lineup, but it would be very much with, again, the caveat of you're getting through a door and you're having a fight, and then I will immediately cut off with, like, you guys get back through the dungeon, go back to the ship. You won't have any RP opportunity if we squeeze in a fight session.
I say we should probably just wait on it. That way we're not overloading ourselves with
Yeah.
RP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next
As much as I
session-
do want to get to the fight and finish everything, but
I was just going to throw it out there as the opportunity because I was saying that this was going to be the last one. But we had a lot of shit happen. So next Spelljammer on the 18th, and we'll officially wrap up the dungeon.
nice.